morning, friends. Well, I'm doing a little recipe this morning. I was looking around the kitchen. If you're like me, you've got a kitchen full of food, and then you go to the grocery store every week and you spend another $75 or whatever, and you pack it all in there. I'm trying to get rid of stuff. I had a few leftover whole almonds, a few chocolate chips. These are milk chocolate. And then I had some leftover graham crackers that my son got when he was here. Excuse me, something's burning on the stove. Hang on. Oh, yeah, that's a little burn smelling. Anyway, I thought, I'll make this recipe. Florence's Toffee Chocolate Squares. Now this comes from a recipe book that I love. It's called Southern Sideboards, and this was given to me as a wedding gift from my mother, so well over 30 years ago. And I love this recipe. It's one of the first ones I did out of here. I don't know how I found it. So easy. That's probably why I picked it. It only has 5 ingredients. Graham crackers, brown sugar, supposed to be dark brown sugar, which I never have, butter, chocolate chips. Oh, it does say milk chocolate chips. I'm going to use primarily semi-sweet, which also works, and some ground pecans. But I'm not using pecans because my husband is allergic to pecans, and it'll give him hives. So that's why I'm using the almonds. So I took this bag and I whacked it with a big old hammer to break up these almonds because they were whole almonds, and I had some slivered almonds that I added to that. And that's what's burning in the pan, is I didn't want to put them on top of these cookies in their natural state. Almonds are better toasted. Really, a lot of nuts really are, but especially almonds. And I had the heat on too high, and so they got a little bit dark, but I think it'll be okay. I'm only going to put them on the ones I eat because nobody else wants nuts anyway. Okay, so the first thing you do is turn your oven on to 400. The second thing you do is get out a cookie sheet. Now I like this. This is kind of a smallish. Oh, this is not one of those big quarter sheets. And so I can, it's just a little bit narrower than some aluminum foil. And so the aluminum foil covers it totally. You are supposed to try to cover it all the way because you're going to pour the butter and brown sugar on top of these graham crackers, which I have divided up into squares. I used to do it into the little rectangles and they broke too easily. And it pretty much fills this sheet. Okay, so I'll put that over there. Now I'm going to melt a cup of butter. That's 2 sticks. In my saucepan. Instead of holding everything up, I'm going to turn the camera down so you can watch on the stove. Now you're really just melting the butter and then adding the brown sugar. They're going to get really hot in the oven, so there's no need to let it get too hot on the stove. The instructions say, well, I am incorrect. Simmer together for 3 minutes the sugar and butter. So you do let it simmer, but you don't have to bring it to any kind of a crazy temperature. Okay, let's add a cup of the brown sugar here in a minute. I used to keep everything in Tupperware and all that kind of stuff for years, like a good little housewife. And then I realized as I got older, I really like glass, ball jars, old-fashioned kind of stuff. So I switched over and decided to keep things. Don't know that my husband's wild about it, but I like it. So it's even parts sugar and butter. And this, of course, will make some kind of a little caramel. I toyed with adding that leftover caramel kind of stuff, the sweetened condensed milk into here, but I was a little afraid of ruining the recipe, so I think I won't do that. Okay, so we're going to let this melt, and after it melts, we'll come back to it, okay? Okay, well, the butter and the brown sugar are all melted together. Now, they did not incorporate well, but that's not, you just want to spread it evenly. The butter tends to sit on the top. And so you pour this over. Just want to make sure that you get get it on every single graham cracker. Because this is, of course, where the flavor is. And this will be plenty. Really, it becomes the cookie. It is the topping on the cookie. And the graham cracker is just a means of holding it, honestly. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Now, I love the fact that my husband works at a school with lots of teachers and students, and my daughter also goes to work, so I can keep some of these, maybe a little bit more than some, at the house to eat, but I don't have to be in charge of eating all of these because, oh my goodness, that's a lot of sugar that I really don't need. Okay, now this goes into the oven. Now you have to watch it very carefully. It says for 5 minutes and then remove. So I'm going to watch it quite carefully. Okay, 5 minutes. While the timer is counting down behind me, I wanted to say one thing about chocolate chips. They are not all created equal. And this is one spot where I really do buy Toll House chocolate chips. I discovered years ago that some of the off-brands don't have the same ingredients. If you look at the ingredient list on some of your chocolate chip packages and you see, I think it's something like chocolate liqueur or something like that, then those are lovely, but they are made not to melt, okay? And they're perfect in cookies. So if you want your chocolate chip to stay intact in a cookie, even when you're baking it or whatever you're doing, then you might want that. And they're okay. But in this recipe, I want to be able to put the chocolate chips on top of this, the graham cracker mixture when I take it out of the oven, and it's going to be blistering hot, and I want them to melt, and I want to be able to kind of smooth it out and marble it on top. I tried that one time with some chocolate chips, and they wouldn't do anything, and it was so frustrating. So then I went back to buying Toll House, which is a brand, Nestle's Toll House, and they always do what I want them to do. So this is, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. This is just a comment about the different kinds of chocolate chips, and to be careful which kinds you buy. There's the timer. Must be time. All right, let's see what it looks like. It's very full. Just be very careful not to spill it on yourself because you will get such a burn. All right. Now I'm going to sprinkle these on top. And it does say an entire, I didn't do a good job on that, an entire 11.5-ounce package of chocolate chips. Now, the ones that were in the top of this bag were semi-sweet, and the ones toward the bottom of the bag are milk chocolate. And that might actually be a really nice combination. So make sure that you get chocolate on every single square so that everybody who eats this will get a yummy burst of chocolate. Now, I'm going to put these slightly burned almonds on one end so that people who don't want almonds don't have to have any. And if they're really horrible and ruin the flavor of it, I haven't ruined the whole batch. That'll be good. You could, instead of calling it burnt, you could just call it scotched butter. We'll call it that. Scotched butter squares. Okay. Now, you can take a spoon. See how this melts so nicely. And that looks really fun as well. I've made these at Christmas. They're wonderful to take. They're so quick and easy. And then when they harden, and you can make them harden faster if you put them in the refrigerator. And then you just break them into squares. And when you put them on a little platter and take them to some kind of a reception or something where you have to take a nibble, once people taste this, they consume them, and then they stuff them in their pocketbooks and take them home. You will watch the men put them straight into their suit coat pockets. Okay, so let me take a picture of this so you can see it close up, and then I'll show it to you when they're nice and cool. They're so yummy. Thanks for joining me for this fun little recipe. I do hope to do more little cooking recipes as we get toward Christmas, if I have time.